The two Miami Heat videos I have uploaded onto my channel, the last two videos I made, are now a little dated because of things that have happened since I recorded the audio for them. There have been many signings made by the Miami Heat, and I felt like I should comment on some of them to see how I think they filled out the team and how it compares to what I thought. If you watch those two videos, at the time I went over the 5 important players that the Heat had on their roster: Mario Chalmers, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Mike Miller. At the time, I said they needed 3 more key players, plus they needed to fill out the roster with scrubs just so that they would have warm bodies on the bench. How did they do this? Now let's talk about it. The first role I said they needed to fill was the bench guard, quite simply a guard to come off the bench. I said that the ideal choice would have been J.J. Redick, but I also conceded that it would probably be too expensive. It quite simply was, as rumor had it that Chicago offered him near $7 million a year. They ended up going with Eddie House. I like this signing just fine. He's a very good three-point shooter, or rather I should say he has been a very good three-point shooter, and we have reason to believe he could be that again in the right situation like he will be in Miami. However, he is not a slasher, he does not get to the free throw line very much, and he does not get to the rim a lot. He's also not a very good passer. It's simply not his game. I think this should be fine. You're going to be looking for a lot of point guard skill moments from Wade and James, but it should work out perfectly fine. I would like to have a guard capable of really running the point when Wade is sitting on the bench, but this should work out perfectly fine. Eddie House can come off the bench, hit threes, and even if that's all he does, that should work. The second role I said that still needed to be filled was the other big man. Specifically, in this case, the center. They needed a starting center who could play off Chris Bosh. It didn't need to be a great player, but it needed to be somebody. I said in my video that while there aren't very many great options out there, the best one available for them was Joel Anthony. And that is exactly what they have done. They have gone out excuse me, and re-signed Joel Anthony to a reasonable deal. And while Anthony does not bring a lot to the table, certainly, he does bring some pretty good post defense. In only 16 and a half minutes last year, he averaged 1.4 blocks per game. He also was pulling down a few rebounds, and when you get right down to it, he's not too bad of a free throw shooter either, so he brings some other skills to the table as well. But given his ability to defend the low post and get a couple of blocks, I think this is the best thing they could have done. The third and final role I said they needed to fill was the other big man, quite simply a big man to come off the bench. Now, I said that in an ideal situation, this player would be a center, but I also suspected that would be very hard to accomplish because it's hard to find a decent center for dirt cheap in free agency at this point. As it turns out, Udonis Haslem was willing to take less money to stay with the Heat, and that's what he's done. I like the signing in the sense that Haslem is a pretty good scorer, he can grab rebounds, he's a pretty good defender down there, and he's just a tough guy. It's a good choice to keep him around, and I like a lot of things about it. I don't like the fact, however, that Udonis is not going to be able to play center. He's 6'8", leaving the only reliable center on the Miami Heat being Joel Anthony. Chris Bosh has already said he doesn't want to play center anymore, and Haslem just doesn't have the body size for it. But it should be good enough, and those are the 8 key players for the Miami Heat. They didn't fill out the roster exactly how I would have, but I think it should be close enough. And there's always the possibility of one of the scrubs having a nice little breakout season that nobody saw coming. Real quickly, the rest of the roster. Carlos Arroyo and Kenny Hasbrook back up the point guard spot. Arroyo, I would actually keep an eye on. I don't know. He wasn't too horrible last year. He actually took minutes away from Mario Chalmers. Backing up the small forward position is James Jones, who's actually, I think, been on the roster the whole time, but I don't really care about him. He, in my opinion, probably won't be playing any meaningful minutes all season. Power forward, Juwan Howard, third string, and fourth string is Shavlik Randolph. Juwan Howard, okay. You know, old guy, pretty good for Portland last year. Not really the ideal player you want out there playing key minutes for you, but he's a veteran. Not bad. Shavlik Randolph, I honestly don't even really know who that is. Filling out the center spot for them is Zydrunas Ilgauskas. I don't really like him. Not anymore. He has one NBA skill. He can shoot jumpers pretty well for a big guy, and that's really about it. Then you have Jamal Magliore, which actually, as far as backups go, why not? You know, he. I guess he's kind of just a body out there, but at least he's tall enough to play the center position. I actually kind of like that. And then you have Dexter Pittman, and I have no idea what's going to happen with Dexter, but I'm not averse to keeping him around just to see what he can do. And that's the Miami Heat. I talked about the 8 main roles they needed to fill with their players and how they filled them. I think they did a pretty good job. With the pieces they have added since I made the last 2 videos, I think they have everything they need to make a finals run, and I actually right now expect them to go all the way and win the championship. But we'll see. As of right now, that's my pick. This Miami team has filled itself out to the point where I feel like I can make a prediction. That's what I'm thinking right now. And that concludes my thoughts on the Miami Heat. So I'm going to leave it at that. And it's time to make videos about other things. So see you guys later.